Well, hello, good afternoon everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back. I hope you guys are doing fantastic out there. In this video today, we're going to install a rear rack on this 2022 Yamaha XT250. So I picked this up on a Prime Day sale where normally this was about $100. I picked it up for $70 something. So it's made by KEMIMOTO. So here's a look at this rack. This is a nice looking rack. Everything is welded very nice. This is good thick steel. And it just looks really nice. The shipping was fast. You have a bracket for the right side, and there's also a bracket with the L for the left side. So you get those two, and then you get the little bag of hardware with the instructions. That's all that's included in this package. The tools that I'll be using today is a metric set of Allen wrenches, as well as a 1/4 inch drive socket set. So out of the hardware bag, you get this little paper, and I'm guessing this is directions, product manual. Feel free to pause your screen if you want to read this. So part A, there's one of those. Number 2 is part B. Number 3, part C. Number 4, there's 6 sleeves. And then number 5 is M8 by 60 screws. There's 2 of those. And then M8 by 30 screws. There's 6 of those. Number 7 is M8 washers. There's 8 of those. And then number 8 is the M8 nuts. You get 4 of those. So here are the installation steps or tips. Step number 1. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's a diagram, and then on the back of the paper there's nothing. So pretty simple, straightforward instructions here. So I have this little bag back here that I've been using just to put my stuff in as I go for rides and stuff. So I'll go ahead and take this little bag off. And this has worked out pretty good, but I'm really needing a rear rack. I think that's a must have on just about any motorcycle, although this bag, it did work very well for the time that I've had this bike so far. So looking at step number 1, it says go underneath the rear fender and take out the 2 nuts. We're going to need the 8mm. And then if you look at the rear of the bike, they're referring to these 2 ones right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take those out. It's a little tricky getting the camera in here. So these are 8mm bolt heads and the flat washers. That's what those look like. And where's the other one at? I've got the camera in the way and it's kind of hard to see, but I want you guys to be able to see what we're doing here. And there's that second one. And now that you have those out, let's go ahead and just take the seat off of the bike and set it aside. Okay, for step number 2, we're going to locate the 4 bolts on the muffler and the little bolt on the side cover. And on step 3, we're going to remove the side cover and also the protector on the muffler. So right here, this is a 5mm Allen screw. We'll go ahead and take that out. And don't lose the washer. See that little washer there? So we have the bolt and the washer. And then we'll take off this little cover. This little cover right here. Come on, cover. Just pulls straight out. Come on. There we go. There we go. Now we have all of this plastic off. We can move on to these 4 Phillips head bolts. We'll take those out as well. So these also have washers that have little rubber things on them. Kind of reminds me of the screws that you would see like when you're doing metal roofing or something. So you have the bolt with the washer that has kind of like an insulator. So we're going to pull all of those out. There's only 4 of them. Pretty straightforward. And we'll pull this off and just make sure that you don't lose these little washers. Okay, the next step is to remove these 2 bolts and take these handles off, these grab irons. This is going to be done with a 12mm socket. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and remove these. Those are kind of tight. These mosquitoes are relentless out here right now. Let's go for this one. So we'll just take these bolts out. There's one. We're almost there. We're going to do this on the other side as well. So we took off this little grab iron here, and we're going to do this on both sides of the bike. There's that one. Come on. There it is. And the other one is right here. We'll just lift this plastic a little bit. There. Ratchet was switching sides on me. So there we have that. So we're going to put this assembly together right here, and this is what it will look like on the bike. So step number 5 and step number 6. So we're going to get all this together and then we'll put it on the bike. And to make that step a little bit easier, it helps if I have all my hardware kind of laid out right in front of me so there's no confusion. Okay, to help make this easier for me to understand, I had to lay it out like this. So I took 2 of these smaller bolts, I put them from the outside with a washer, then a spacer on the inside, and then a lock nut on the inside here. So I did that on both sides, and then I used the longer bolts with the flat washer, no spacer, and then a lock nut on the inside. So I'm going to take this all apart again, but now that I have a visual of how it mounts to this bracket, how the rack itself mounts to this bracket, now I can mount the bracket to the bike. So if we refer back to step number 5, you have a sleeve on the inside, the bracket itself, then a flat washer, then the bolt. So you'll have a sleeve on the inside, you'll have the bracket itself, a flat washer, and a bolt. It's hard to do all this with one hand. I'm not using the tripod at the moment. But that's what you'll be looking at. Something like that. And that's what we're going to screw onto the bike. And we're going to also repeat the process with the bottom. So on both ends. So that's going to take all 4 of my bolts, all 4 of my washers, and all 4 of my spacers. Okay, so we have everything put together here. Let's go ahead and drop it right in. These holes are already threaded underneath, so there's no worry about that. We'll just get these bolts started. Make sure that the bracket goes under the plastic here, and we're going to use our Allen key to tighten this in. It's a pretty straightforward process. It's nothing too difficult. I'm trying to rush a little bit right now because I'm running out of daylight, to be honest with you guys, and I hope I can finish and not have to come back tomorrow. But I want to get all this stuff put together. Now it would be a good idea to put some Loctite on these bolts, but I'm not doing that. But I might come back and do that maybe tomorrow off camera. I might put some Loctite so you can see how the bracket lines up. And those tighten up really nice. Now we have the right side on. We're going to repeat the same process on the left side. Okay, let's take a look here. We got this side. We're going to just kind of finagle it under. And let's see. How are we going to get this under there? I'm going to pull this plastic back just a little bit. So we found that one. We'll just pull this plastic out of the way a little bit. Hopefully the camera is picking this up and I'm not getting in the way of it too much. There. Now we should be able to get in there. It's hard to tighten these sometimes and keep my hand out of the view where you guys, so you guys can see it. So that leaves us with this hole and this hole for the rack to mount to, which is going to be nice. I just got to finish tightening these up. So we got those on both sides. Now we'll bring the rack over and we'll see if we can get the rack on. Okay, so I'm going to take the top nuts off here and the bolts, set everything kind of on the air cleaner, and now we'll set this rack in place just like this. We'll take the long bolts with the nuts, or with the washers rather. We'll put the nut on the inside. There's that one. Then we'll take this stuff right here. We'll take the nut and the spacer off. So we'll put the spacer between the rack and the bracket. Just like this. And the nut on the inside. We'll repeat the process on this side. We'll put the long bolt through. Put the nut on the inside. And then we'll finish up with this part on the left side. Same thing, we'll do the spacer between the rack and the bracket. Okay, so now I have all the hardware on. It's just a matter of tightening it all up. I'm going to go ahead and tighten these up. These are with a 2mm, and I believe the socket on the inside is a 13mm. So we'll just go ahead and tighten these up. And now we'll do this left side. There we go, we're almost there. Hopefully the camera is picking this up. It's a little bit difficult filming in the dark. Okay, at this time we're going to put this cover, this exhaust cover back on. It's important to note that on each side of this cover there's a little washer. So there's a washer there and a washer there. So you want to make sure that all 4 of your screws has a washer on each side. It's an insulator. This goes against the exhaust pipe. So you want to make sure you have all those insulators. And then the 4 screws just correspond right there onto the muffler. So we'll get this kind of into position. And now that that exhaust guard is on, we can put the side plastic on and then put the seat on. Okay, on the plastic you have this little post, and they correspond to these little rubber grommets. And then you have the screw hole that goes right here. So we'll just set the plastic just like so, and make sure that you're finding those little rubber grommets. There's 1, there's 2. And now the little screw hole goes right here. This is the side screw. If you want to put a little bit of temporary Loctite on this screw, that would probably help you out. We're almost done with this complete installation. This looks really nice. Now at this point it's just a matter of putting the seat back on, and remember, it's those 2 little bolts right here that come up from the bottom. So here we go, setting the seat on. Make sure that everything is nice and in the right position. And even though the camera probably won't show what I'm doing here, I'm putting these 2 bolts back up into the bottom of the seat. And there's 2. Now the seat's on, the rack is on, and this job is complete. Well folks, there you have it. There's the KEMIMOTO rear rack installed. It was actually pretty easy to install that rack. I hope you enjoyed this video. My apologies for the video getting dark. I didn't plan on it that way. But that rack looks nice. Now we can cinch things down, we can tie things down, put packs back there, and it just adds another layer of versatility to this amazing little motorcycle. So I hope you got some good, useful information out of this video. Please feel free to leave your comments down below, like this video, and if you're interested in that rack, I'll put a link in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a beautiful day. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now, everybody.